Some games are so fantastic they leave you with a desire for more and give the impression they haven't reached their true potential yet, be it an unexplored game world that still seems to hide many secrets or a captivating gameplay mechanic with a foundation for something greater. It's easy to wish for more, and while this appears to be greedy at first glance, it comes from a good place. To desire for what you love is the proof that someone did something right and should be glad to enjoy such a pleasant reputation. But there's also the case of unrealized potential, where certain ideas don't seem well thought out and could take another attempt to show their merits. A perfect example is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, with all its refinement in terms of battle system, partners and overall gameplay. It took the groundwork of its predecessor and elaborated on it by sticking on what was established, what needed work and how it could still contrast, without becoming too abstract. The sequel to Breath of the Wild is a similar case, and although we haven't got any clear information about the game world or gameplay in general, it very much looks like it's going to use Breath of the Wild and investigate the many concepts it provided. And this is also the reason why developers should experiment. It's not only due to appearing innovative, but mainly to take risks that can lead to something worthy in the future. I mean, no one at Nintendo probably thought a silly experiment of Mario in a racing kart is going to be their greatest selling game series, right? It's all about taking the right turns, which is why spin-offs in general often are victims of their own ideas. The Kirby series in particular is famous for getting all sorts of different spin-offs and can be regarded as Nintendo's personal guinea pig when it comes to trying out new ideas. Kirby by itself just fits this role perfectly because of the simple shape of the sphere and overall adaptability and genre, as well as his ability to copy enemies as well. Golf, fun racer, platformer, rhythm game. Sooner or later Kirby is going to check off every genre in existence and will hold the record of most diversified video game character ever. As great as this may sound, there's still one drawback to this whole thing. These spin-offs tend to be one-timer. Whenever we get the luck to receive another interesting experiment, it's very likely there's not going to be a follow-up that could potentially smooth the mistakes made in the first try. Kirby Aeroid is the poster child and still waits for another attempt, although it's regarded as one of Kirby's best trials to this day. Sometimes the stars align and we do get the chance to try out another game of a concept that just seemed too appealing. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is the successor to Power Paintbrush and plays similarly while bringing some spice to the kitchen. The unique clay style lends the game a special charm, and that's basically all, but nonetheless it was refreshing to see them fall back on past ideas. It's not like they refuse to give certain spin-offs another shot on principle. The main reason for Rainbow Curse existence was the Wii U gamepad, so whenever they send the opportunity because of a fitting controller or whatever, it seems like they will take the chance. The Switch doesn't fit in that picture and only relies on a gimmick that has nothing to do with actual gameplay but rather flexibility. So instead, Nintendo tries to release smaller eShop only titles like in the 3DS days again. In fact, Super Kirby Clash and Kirby Fighters 2 are direct successors to already established spin-offs on the 3DS and further expand the gameplay with online modes and more content across the board. And this is the proper realization of what I speak of, right? Giving interesting experiments a second try, releasing them on a smaller scope without the bother or risk of creating retail boxes, and observing if this whole thing was a good concept after all. Well, this video wouldn't exist if it would be that easy, so let's elaborate by examining Fighters 2. The game in particular doesn't suffer from its gameplay or execution as such. In fact, it's even a solid continuation of its predecessor and added a bunch of meaningful substance. More copy abilities, additional fighters, new stages and a short story mode made the game to more than a simple distraction and justified the newly added price tag. But whenever you strive for the stars, there's a good chance you go astray in the horizon. The online mode didn't allow any specific routes and had some serious problems in terms of lag and delay. This wasn't a first timer, since Kirby Battle Royale shared a similar business, which makes the poor online implementation even more questionable. The same goes for playable characters. While the selection got a substantial upgrade and even fully new characters, it wasn't enough. It will probably look like my greed has no end, and although this is true, each new character was just copy and pasted of Star Allies. Margolor, DDD or Meta Knight played nearly exactly the same like in Star Allies, so why didn't they also add more fighters like Taranza, Zuzi or Dark Meta Knight? The game cried for content updates like in Star Allies and could easily be updated without taking too much work. Just imagine if there actually would should be a competitive scene comparing all the abilities, making tier lists and playing the game on a serious basis, even if it would be a small community. Maybe there is one, but by just letting the game die, its fate was sealed. All of this sounds way more negative than it actually should. Kirby Fighters 2 is by no means a bad spin-off or continuation, especially if you consider the low price tag. But this is just a problem that could lead to so much more. You can argue that smaller titles make sense and doesn't harm anyone, but it's their unfulfilled potential that kinda frustrates me. I mean, just look at all the Mario spin-offs at this point. Mario Party, Mario Kart, Paper Mario, and the sports games are all regarded as their own series by this point, which is due to the fact that Nintendo understood their possibilities. We are still waiting for a proper Kirby Air Ride 2, and the good sales of any Kirby game, be it the mainline title or mere spin-off, proves the interest in the character and not in the genre specifically. But again, all of this is just a minor nitpick I have with the franchise. I just love it when they take risks, and even Kirby and the Forgotten Land can actually be considered a spin-off, since it's unsure if they're truly going to follow this path of 3D gameplay. And we also don't know what the future holds. Maybe next year we get another try on an already established spin-off, or even better, a fully new experiment. Because even if they like to jump between genres without caring to land, it's the unpredictable yet familiar nature of the series that keeps the franchise so alive.